Hi YouTube, I'm Lindsay and I'm going to talk to you today about anxiety. So I've had quite a rough year with anxiety and something kind of triggered it earlier on in the year and it made it really quite difficult for me to cope with day-to-day life. And so I managed to get some help and I have had such a massive difference in how I perceive everything about my life, not, and it sounds very dramatic, but I do feel such a difference in how I like how my thoughts are formed in my head, and how I control worrying about different things. And so I wanted to first of all talk about worrying about the future. This is something that plagued my day-to-day life, and I was constantly making plans, constantly thinking years ahead, trying to always make sure that I was extremely prepared for any eventuality. Was always just so worried about what was going to happen, and so I always wanted to know what was going to happen after what I was currently doing. So I was okay during university because I knew that after my undergraduate I was going to do a master's, and so I was like, I won't worry about that then. But then as soon as I started my master's, I started worrying about what I was going to do the year after, and so it's just a vicious cycle. So you're never really not worrying about anything, even if you have 4 years ahead. So right now I'm going to talk to you about how to control that. So take as an example someone just starting their final year of university. They don't know what's going to happen after they finished in June or July. They know that they want a job, but they're not sure exactly which industry, or they're kind of just confused about what they really should be applying for. So that as an example, you have a full year between now and where you might be starting a job or might not be. And you have to think about what you can do practically right now to prepare yourself for that year. So things like looking at your CV, going to the clinic with the university and getting different getting helpful hints and tips on how to make sure your CV is at its best. Maybe looking for gaps or looking for things that you can improve on currently. Things like if you've really not maybe got a regular hobby, joining a society and adding that to your CV. Just thinking about how you can set up your life right now to help in any way, shape or form for you to find a job. Things like thinking about your employability, thinking about what do you actually want out of a job? Do you want to be working with people? Do you want to be just kind of programming, or do you want to be in sales, or is there anything that you do as a hobby that you really enjoy? Think about what skills am I using when I'm doing that hobby, and would that be relevant to a specific job? So thinking about you as a whole, the person that you know you've become throughout the university years, for example, and just seeing what you can do right now. All you can do right now is apply for jobs that interest you, that come along. I think it's quite important to make sure that you can kind of balance applying for jobs along with doing your university work, because you're doing university work to find a job. So quite a few people I know have kind of just abandoned the job search to focus on their university careers, but then they've got to the end and they haven't found anything. So it's try and keep a balance. Don't apply for anything left, right, and centre if you're not sure what you want to do, because that's maybe a waste of your time. But just try and get a bit of a balance between applying for things and also putting, obviously, trying your hardest for your classification. But where you have to draw the line is where you think, okay, I'm going to try my best and I'm going to apply for things, but I cannot predict what's going to happen in a year's time. I do not know if I might find something that really excites me in 6 months' time. So there's so many different possibilities of what can happen in a year, and it's not until you get to that end of that year that you're going to know what your options are, and you're going to be able to look at your opportunities and say, okay, do I have 3 job offers? Do I have none? Am I maybe thinking about going travelling, or do I want to take a gap year? There are so many other things that you could consider, but they might not have come into your head yet. So the kind of analogy that I've come up with for any sort of situation like this, not necessarily just that one I've described, but anything where you're thinking overly about the future and worrying overly about the next step, is to consider what you're in now as almost like a jungle. And what comes afterwards is a river, and you know that there's going to be a river coming, but you don't know what the conditions are going to be like when you get to the river, and it's only once you're there that you can fully analyse the situation, you can understand what's going on, see if you've got the right equipment, and try to cross that river at your pace, at what is the right speed for you, It might be that you can hop over because you've got 3 job offers and you've got the pick of the lot and it's up to you. It might be that you think, okay, I'm still not really sure what I want to do, I'm going to go and get some work experience, or there's so many options, but as I said, it's not until you're at that point that you're going to know how best to proceed, because obviously everyone changes all the time, we're constantly evolving, so in a year's time you will be different and you'll have different wants, different needs, different desires, so it's only at that point that you'll be able to make the best informed decision for you. And that analogy really helped me to kind of rein myself in and to stop worrying quite so much about what's going to happen in 4 years' time, for example. And one thing I also have done is kind of to stop myself living quite so far ahead in the future is to say I'm only allowed to plan anything 3 months ahead. So, and that also has really has helped me live a lot more in the moment and just enjoy my weekends, enjoy my time with my friends now, rather than constantly kind of thinking about planning and getting in lots of different activities in a year's time. So that would be my advice on how to stop worrying about the future. I hope that it gives somebody some form of comfort.